Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast is powered by our Amazon affiliation. That's right, we're back on the Amazon train. If you go to gearnetwork.com under the Support the Shows banner, click the Amazon link. It will take you directly to your Amazon account, and you can do all of your Christmas shopping, holiday shopping, or regular shopping there. If that doesn't work, click on any one of the banners you see on gearnetwork.com. It will take you to Amazon as well. Using our banners, using our links, helps power this podcast in a way that we appreciate very much. So again, gearnetwork.com, click on any one of the banners to shop Amazon and support this podcast.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
What's up, rock soldiers, and welcome back to All Bets Are Off with Robbie Vegas. Today we have a special guest with us, none of a kind, Mr. Anthony Gaines. So, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Robbie.
I'm going to pretend that we didn't just drive up here to Upstate 8 for an hour together.
Absolutely.
And that this is just extra special. You just happen to be here.
Absolutely, yeah. Our paths just happen to cross in the middle of Rochester, New York. We're both Buffalo natives, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we get into it, though, I do have to thank our sponsor, Unchained Muscle. So I need all my listeners to make sure you go to unchainedmuscle.uk, order all your workout needs as far as clothes go. We got tank tops, t-shirts, leggings, men's, women's, and of course they donate to mental health charity for the purchases that you make. They make this show possible, so please continue to support those sponsors. So, you.
Yes, after your shameless little plug there.
Yes. So, first thing I want to know for you is, where did wrestling start for you?
Wrestling started in the middle of my living room when I was 7 years old, circa, if I was born in 1993 and I was 6 or 7 years old, that would be just about 98, 99, circa WCW. Mom grew up a very, very devout Christian, and right around that time was the Attitude Era, right?
Yeah.
So, Mom was totally against the Attitude Era, so she said, you know what you can watch is you can watch that WCW. So, Anthony grew up watching WCW, and I'll never forget the first match I ever watched was Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lex Luger on an episode of Monday Night Nitro. Yeah, a really good way to break yourself in.
Yeah.
That's as early as my memories have served me. So from the middle of South Buffalo growing up, a 6 or 7 year old with a babysitter that was less than competent. She would drink on the job and she would pass out, and I was just left to fend for myself. I thought it was fun because I got to watch all the stuff Mom and Dad, so I would flip back between Raw and then South Park was on, and then next thing you know the parents are home. And but yeah, God bless you, Miss Debbie. I don't know where you are, but thank you for helping my broken home and letting me watch wrestling. But yeah, that's as early as it started for me, as early of recollection. But I talked to my dad and I talked to, my aunts and uncles, and they touched on wrestling. My dad's like, oh, I loved Adrian Adonis and I loved Bobo Brazil. Wow. And I'm just, yeah. But he was a frequent viewer, not like a devout wrestling fan like myself. So that's as early as I can at least think of it.
Okay, cool. And, shout out to Miss Debbie. Hopefully she's not passed out right now.
Or
she's
passed
listening.
on. Who knows?
How did you discover, indie wrestling?
So, I can't tell you. I believe the first independent show, which, God bless me, I'm, young and naive. I seen that there was a wrestling show at the ballpark field. It was baseball followed by a wrestling show, Ballpark Brawl.
Yeah, I remember
and
those.
Unbeknownst to me, I thought that was the big leagues. I didn't know what indie wrestling was. And then I went there and I seen all these dudes that weren't on TV. This was just when NWA TNA had started. So you had AJ Styles, you had Abyss, you had Jeff Jarrett, you had Kid Cash, all those people. And I wasn't familiar with a lot of them. I'm pretty impressionable. 12 or 13, whatever it was. So I went home and I looked it up on online at the time because the internet was just big back then. I couldn't find anything, and that was my earliest experience with indie wrestling. Moving forward, as far as a devout wrestling watcher in the days of YouTube and Daily Motion and all that, I started to look upon it more. Chris Hero started to come on, and Claudio and Chikara was pretty big at the time. So there were all these wrestlers that weren't on your TV screen every Monday and Thursday night that were just out there and had a buzz about them. But you really had to search for them. So I think Ballpark Brawl was my earliest actual experience with wrestling, but I kind of had to teach myself that there's more out there than, as there was every Monday, Thursday, Friday, what have you. You know? Growing up, when I decided to become a professional wrestler, and you actually had to learn, this is when the indies were just starting to get a little bit of a spark about them. I had to look up schools near me, and I had to look up, I knew about UPW and I knew about, I was going to ESW at the time, but they were so small level indies that, like, you didn't think anything about them, you know?
Right, yeah. So now you start going to these shows just as a fan. Mm-hmm. Now, when did you realize that this is something you wanted to do?
I always wanted to be my earliest memories of wanting to be a professional wrestler, I actually wanted to be a referee. I wanted to be a referee because you remember that era of Kane where he would come out with the towel and the handcuffs? I was so terrified of becoming a professional wrestler because of Kane that I said, you know what? I'm just going to be a ref. And then he started beating up refs. And I'm like, maybe this ain't for me. But in all seriousness...
So you almost threw in the towel in the whole business.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. I'm looking at you, so big and scary. But I actually realized, like I said, looking into it, like, I'm like, oh, there's small level indies, and like, this is something that's totally obtainable, you know, and it's in my backyard, so to speak. So my first ever seminar was with Robbie E. At Empire State Wrestling. I wasn't allowed to bump, and I wasn't allowed to chain. I wasn't allowed to do anything. I was just allowed to sit there and absorb. But my actually first day at a wrestling school was at Pier 6 Wrestling in Hamlin, New York. Where at the time, Kendall James was the trainer at the time, and my best friend in the world, Gavin Glass, was the one. He was one of Yuri Koloff. I'm going on a tangent here. He was one of Yuri Koloff's. Yeah. I have so many branches. You guys can't see, I'm talking with my hands. There's so many branches. But yeah, Gavin Glass was one of Yuri Koloff's, Soviet henchmen. Okay. And then he's like, oh yeah, I train in Hamlin. You should come up sometime. Like, it's a good school. And Pier 6 Wrestling was a company at the time. Is now defunct, but Gavin was one of the young guns, which is, their students they would train and they would put on shows. And that was my earliest training professional wrestling days. So I would actually go against, the golden rule of wrestling. If you work here, you can't work there. Yeah. So me, being the defiant little shit I am, it was between Pier 6 and UPW. So I would go to Pier 6 on Sunday, and I would go to UPW on Wednesdays. And you definitely weren't supposed to do that. And much like other topics, I'm like, hey, I'll just be accepted by both. Neither one of them accepted me. And me and Gavin were friends, and everybody looked at me. But the thing is I was actually kind of good at what I do. So they were forced to accept me because they're like, crap, the new kid actually ain't half bad.
Now, did you find yourself as like a natural in the ring? Like kind of a no fear? You just kind of did what you had to do?
Certain things came easier than others. So like I would always wrestle my body pillow on the trampoline. I'd give it suplexes and jackhammers and moonsaults and stuff. In the ring, striking came naturally to me very quickly, but oddly enough, little things didn't, like running the ropes. Oh, really? Took me roughly 9 months to get. Really? Because I would have this, I would hit them with my, I wouldn't put an arm on the rope to protect myself, so to speak. I would put my arms in and just hit it with my, and hit it with my shoulders, and it looked awkward, and I had this big Dwayne The Rock Johnson-esque, people's elbow jump with nobody there. I would just do it out of nowhere. So some things came easy, some things came harder, but that's just the nature of the beast. Everybody's different, right?
Right, yeah. When I see you, you're a naturally charismatic person. Yeah. So I would assume that, going into it, the personality that you had made you somebody to look out for immediately. You had it, as we like to say. Yeah. Do you feel that was a thing that helped you along? Everybody was looking at you this kid's got something?
Yeah, so, from as early as I can remember, my parents would always say, oh, he's such an outgoing kid. And I always told myself growing up, I'm somebody way too special. Like you said, I have too much charisma and too much personality not to be on your TV screen every week. But at the time, I grew up wanting to be an orthodontist. And then I wanted to be a chef. and then I wanted to be a professional wrestler. Yeah, and I'm a chef now. Right. And so like I said, if I got my own cooking show or if I was a wrestler on your TV screen every night, I know I have the personality for it. So yeah, charisma is something that came totally natural for me. Has it helped me a bunch? Absolutely. This is what helps me make connections. And I'm sure you have some people on podcasts like this that struggle to, I don't really know how to answer that, or, I don't know. No, man. Talking to people and making connections, and I made a lot of friends through wrestling because of my personality, and, a lot of people speak highly of me. You're a very likable person. You're easily approachable. We just had Felicia Rose here at Upstate. Yes. And she put out that big post about, how I was one of the first people to make her feel warm and welcome in the locker room, and that touched my heart so much, because if you remember personally walking into your first locker room, and that you debuted at BCW, right? I did. So, kind of a pretty masculine and ego-driven locker room. No 100%. Offense to BCW or anybody that worked there. Very masculine, ego-driven locker room. So where you walk into an environment where you could cut the tension with a knife and just, everybody's big leaguing and what that. Why?
Yes.
Make people feel welcome.
That was very much a locker room where the new guys like myself and, Davey Delight and all of us would have to, like, have our own little corner to change in and only associate with each other.
Right. Like who wants that?
Right.
And I'm so glad to be a part of, wrestling where, like, that's something that's so far behind us. Like, you walk into any locker room nowadays, and you go, hey, brother, what's up? I never met you a day in my life. You're not my brother. Right. But thank you for this warm embrace. That's, you know what? And that little gesture goes such a long way. Big breath of fresh air. Now you can relax and you can have a better match. Yeah. I think you can interact better with people.
I agree. We have a lot of that here at Upstate.
It's great.
Today we walk in and everybody's hugging and happy to see each other.
It's great. And I try to pay that forward. I mean, you've seen me walk in. I knew about 2 of those people, and I hugged them as if I knew them for 10 years.
Yeah.
You got to pay that kind of stuff forward. I agree. Think, anyways, for my money.
Absolutely agree. Now, in my opinion, you're one of the more athletic people in the area and one of the best wrestlers in the area.
Thank you.
So, when did it click for you? Like, when did you realize, like, I'm doing this, I can do this, and I'm good at this? Did you kind of have an inkling all along that you were going to be good?
No. There was never a doubt in my mind that I was going to be good because everything in my life has been kind of a struggle, honestly. Mm-hmm. But my first few matches were kind of cringe, to be perfectly honest. Like, I go back and I watch them, and I'm like, ooh, kid, what are you doing? Grab a hold there, brother. One of those. But when did it click? I don't know. I think when I turned heel at ESW and, I flipped the script, I hit Coconut Jones with the microphone. My match with Coconut for the interstate title, in my opinion, wasn't that very good. But once I started holding that title and I started getting pushed, that's something that Brett at ESW likes to do. Once you have a title, he likes to push you, he likes to elevate you, he likes to challenge you. Mm-hmm. I was put against Ricky Shane Page and I was put against Jimmy Jacobs and ultimately Ace Romero, right?
Yeah.
My match with Jimmy Jacobs is when it really clicked. My match with Ricky Shane Page wasn't very good, and that's all on my fault because I had a little chip on my shoulder at that point. I'm like, hey, I'm starting to get good. No, you kid, you weren't good. But my match with Jimmy Jacobs, who to this day is still my idol and my number one, he was my number one pick of all time. Okay. And I'll never forget, I did my first seminar, and he shall not be named. I'm not going to name him because he's one of my best friends to this day, but he still shouldn't have said it. You went around, who do you idolize in professional wrestling? Who do you aspire to be like? HBK and Chris Jarrett and Stone Cold. And I'm like, Jimmy Jacobs. And he's like, you should idolize somebody that makes more money in the business. I'm like, ow.
Wow.
Douche canoe. Come on, brother. Let me But yeah, he taught me a lot about charisma and that there's something about wrestling your hero that elevates you to a point that is uncomprehendable. I didn't know that I can go like that. I didn't know that putting that much emotion into a match was even possible. I thought, sometimes you just go through the motions, but that really woke myself up. And I got to the back and I had a standing ovation. And then producer Jonathan Ash pulled me aside. He said, that match made you. And I watched it back and it was so good. And like I said, there was so much raw emotion and it was beautiful. It really, really was. And to see something like that come out of me that I didn't know. You can't tap something that you don't know is there. For me to tap that kind of potential was just like, okay, I can do this, and I'm pretty damn good at it.
Okay, very cool.
Personally.
Yeah, right. And now, I've noticed, I'm sure it's no secret to you, because let's be honest, we have to be confident in what we do.
Of course.
So let's just flat out call it what it is. You're a fan favorite in Rochester, Buffalo, right. Pretty much anywhere you go, whether you're heel or face, you're one of the guys that is in the matches that people want to see. Mm-hmm. And that goes for singles, tag teams, whatever. So I guess my question to you is, when you're out there, depending on, who you're in the ring with or whatnot, do you find yourself more so elevated now at the level you're at because of the reactions you're drawing from the people? Is that making you step your game up more? Are you trying to impress more? Or do you think, like, you're in your wheelhouse and...
I think I'm in my wheelhouse. So I don't go out there... when you first start, right, you're going out there, you go through the curtain seeking approval. Yeah. I don't go through the curtain seeking approval anymore because the 6 years I've been wrestling, I've realized that if you go out there and you be yourself, and this comes back to my personality and everything, I'm a big ball of energy and I like to brighten up the room that I'm in. If you go out there confident in who you are, Rockstar Robbie Vegas, none of a kind Anthony Gaines, you go out there and you be who you are, what do you have to lose?
I agree.
Yeah. So I go out there, the ball of kinetic energy that I am. Mm-hmm. I'm boisterous. I'm loud. People are like, what is he screeching for? What is he dancing for? And he has a mohawk, but why isn't it spiked? Like, why do you like it? You just do. You know, I'm fun, and I think people like charisma that they can either laugh at or cheer to get behind. I'm an underdog, and I'll probably always be an underdog. You know, I'm 6 foot tall in my boots, 172 pounds soaking wet. Like, I'm in no way, shape, or form Brock Lesnar, so you're not going to cheer or boo me because of that. But you're going to cheer for me because I'm going to make you cheer for me. You want to see more of me.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes me special, and that's what makes me, you know, such an integral part of anywhere that I'm at. I love the idea of you not forgetting, hey, that blonde kid with the tattoos, not so bad.
Yeah. Now, being a favorite, whether you're hated or liked, you recently, well, at least fairly recently, were elevated because of the pounce with Ace Romero.
Right.
And when I say elevated, I don't mean your in-ring work. I don't mean your charisma. I mean you were literally viral everywhere being interviewed. So I'm not going to explain this story, but I want you to tell the listeners this story. I'm sure they know, but for any stragglers that have been living under a rock, tell me about the pounce. Tell them about the pounce.
I mean, it's been a year and a half, so, you know, I mean, things happen, but, I asked Brett to work Ace Romero as a part of, like I said, Brett wanting to elevate his people. I wanted to work Ace Romero because he was just blowing up in Limitless Wrestling. So when he finally took the booking and said yes, I was elated. So we're doing our thing. We're calling the match. And
let's talk about the size difference here.
Oh yeah. No, I was at my lowest weight ever. So I just like completed my weight loss journey.
Yeah.
And I literally weighed in that day at 168 pounds. Ace Romero weighs 392 pounds.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So continue.
So a little visual for our listeners here. We're calling our match, and it's the funniest thing. Yeah, I'll break down the curtain a little bit here. So you call a match. There's levels of calling things, right? Like, oh, I'll do powerbomb, and oh, drop a work at 1, 2 out. You know, that kind of thing. So we're calling it, right? And I'm like, back fist, head kick, slap, this, pounce to the outside, roll me back in, cannonball, move. And when I tell you that we called over that like it was nothing, up here in the old noodle, I said he's just gonna pop me over the top, and there's these nice little mats there that we just bought, by the way, so fresh, right? Super cushy.
Then all ratty and like
man, wouldn't I tell you that I did not, that's the one thing, I did not expect to not only clear those mats, but go way up the aisleway like that. I just thought it was gonna be a little little up there.
And you landed on the cameraman, right?
I grazed the cameraman with my foot. So I came down like a spinning heel kick to brother.
Oh my
God.
God.
And my hip and all of my lower back ended up on like the tile linoleum floor. Oof. So he pushed me as hard as he could. And I got physics at 168, 392. Not rocket science. And I just remember, I don't even remember like floating through the air. I just remember hitting the ground and being like, oh. And I'll never forget it. I grabbed a fetal position, just cuddled the cameraman's leg because he goes, what are you doing? I'm like, I just need something to hold.
Right.
Right.
Something. Yeah. I mean, that's a scary thing too.
It was,
and you need to make sure you're okay first.
My adrenaline was through the roof, and I knew I was okay. And the referee came out. He's like, can you continue? I'm like, yeah, just tell him to come get me. Because I'm not moving on my own accord. And the producer came out, Jonathan Ash, God bless you, comes out and he's like, are you okay? And I thought he was talking to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He goes, not you, the cameraman. I'm worried about my stuff. Right. So shout out to my best friend, Jonathan Ash.
Please tell me that that's the first time you've ever told that. On like an interview or something.
That portion? Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
Well, you heard it here, folks.
Absolutely.
All bets are off with Robbie Vegas.
Yes, Jonathan Ash, star-studded producer there. Unreal.
And then because of this, you went viral and you were everywhere. Yeah, you were getting requests for interviews. It was on ESPN.
ESPN, TSN, Jamie Foxx's Instagram ridiculousness. CNN, somebody else covered it. Somebody else fun. Either way, you're right. It was everywhere.
That's cool.
I was actually featured on a Nike commercial. It was a part of like,
that I didn't know.
There's like slam dunks and then there's touchdown and Anthony Gaines getting pounced out of the ring. It's like 2 seconds and then boom, Nike logo.
And then of course, we see Ace Romero comes out with the pounce shirt.
Oh, of course.
And, which was huge. And then I see him do it on All Elite in the, overpriced battle royal or whatever they called it.
No hate. No hate to Ace Austin. No hate to Eli Everfly. No hate to Marco Stunt because they're all doing big and great things, but nobody. And when I say nobody, I confidently say, I'm not a very confident person, but here it is. Nobody does it better than none of a kind Anthony Gaines. And to this day, nobody has still taken it without somebody catching them, without a whole bunch of mats there, without a bunch of people on the outside. And actually, Keith Lee called me a retard on Twitter. He said there is a reason nobody has done that yet, because him and Matt Riddle did the big pounce, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it was cool and it was great and it was super safe. Mine was so not safe.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad to be okay.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, you're blessed that you were okay.
Absolutely.
Because that could have went sideways in a lot of ways.
Oh, I could have landed on my arm, my knee, my neck,
Yeah.
my back could have. But pure jealousy by Keith Lee. And hey, what am I saying? I'm still working for, $80 maybe, and he's got a big TV contract. So who wins? Does Keith Lee win by calling me a retard? Maybe, but still screw Keith Lee.
But he used a word that we shouldn't use.
Absolutely
so there's
not.
That,
Absolutely
so there's
not.
that. Not to take shots at anybody, of course, because we don't want to do
not.
that.
I just gave props to Marco Stunt and Eli while I just buried Keith Lee. I'm just batting 1,000 here.
No. Let's curve off from wrestling for a quick second.
Sure.
A lot of our most recent episodes have been paranormal and music related, so we have a lot of listeners that get into that too. So, music. Do you have certain music that you like to get pumped up to, that you work out to, or are you just all over the board?
I'm all over the board.
Yeah.
In every
Give me an
sense of the
example
term.
of all over the board.
I wake up and it's a mood for me. Sometimes you put on the old acoustic playlist, like, the Cranberries do that sweet acoustic of Zombie, and you're like, oh man, this hits. Sometimes you want to turn on a little Harm's Way, a little Counterparts. Sometimes I wake up and I listen to Bad Baby, Danielle Bregoli from Dr. Phil, So when I tell you is I wake up and I have a different musical taste every day.
And you listen to some shredding stuff, too. I saw you were listening to Children of Bodom for a while.
Oh, yeah, Children of Bodom.
Yeah.
What is it? Oh, God, I can't remember. But like a Counterparts and Harm's Way, like a Candy, a bunch of the people that are going to be at the E-Tid show this year, I'm really excited to see. Counterparts is coming to Buffalo soon, and I just took off of work for that. But at the same time, like, I love my 80s music. Like, I love Bonnie Tyler, and I know, right? Like, you look at me and you're like, huh. People are surprised because I'm just going around singing, like, Total Eclipse of the Heart, being like, I'm so confused by you. And
I don't understand you.
Right. Just stop trying to understand. Just enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
So, it's a day-to-day thing, I think.
Cool. Very good. And you listen to music when you work out and everything, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So is there like a certain go-to for that, or is that still all over the board?
I prefer heavy metal.
Yeah, when you're lifting, heavy metal. Jazz.
Yes. If I'm doing like free weights or like shoulders, like little Nicki Minaj never hurts, a little good form. But like if I'm squatting or like I'm doing core specifically, it's just heavy metal. Like,
gotcha.
Let's shred.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you alluded to this earlier, but you just went through a weight loss journey.
Yes.
And I've known you for a long time now. Mm-hmm. Like, if I had to guess, I'd say we go back at least 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
So, this weight loss journey, like, what sparked that for you? What inspired it? And what kept you motivated through it? Like, tell our listeners all about that. Inspire some people who are listening right now.
So, everybody says you wake up one day and you're sick of it, and that's literally what it was. I'll never forget waking up and just looking at myself, and I took my shirt off, and I took forward and side pictures, and I didn't know why I was doing it, and I just looked at myself like, something doesn't feel right. It's time, and it came after my knee surgery. I put on at least 30-40 pounds after my knee surgery, so I went from chunky to just like, woof, kid, like, you're pretty thick. Shout out to all my friends, by the way, who never told me how fat I was. Unreal. Is that
a good shout out, or are you pissed?
I thought I had some good friends, and then all of a sudden, like, nobody told me that I was so fat. And then just one day, I just decided enough is enough. Like, being a chef is really hard. You're constantly tasting, constantly grazing. There's always food in front of you. And one day, I just decided that enough was enough, and that I was just sick of it. And I just remember telling my sister, I'm like, yeah. And my dad was never. I lived with my dad for 11 years, and he was never supportive. He would always bring home chicken wings and be like, come on, it's wing night, or I got a full pizza. I got a large. I can't eat this whole thing myself. And then he'd get mad at me. He'd be like, well, I'm throwing F this way. Well, nobody told you to buy the pizza pie. Come on. And just, that's all it was. It was just hard work and dedication. And I was at Grapplers 3 times a week, and I would weigh myself on a daily basis. And some of my habits weren't conventional, and they weren't healthy. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I went to some pretty extreme stuff. And when I say extreme, I'm talking about, like, what was it? To lose weight, I needed to eat 1,100 calories a day. And I'm talking, like, I limited myself to 500. And I limited myself to 5 grams of carbs a day.
That's not okay.
It's not okay. You're absolutely right. So, like, it worked, but it got to a point where some people were like, you look unhealthy. And with losing...
You had to feel bad, too. Like, you must have been exhausted. And...
I was. Yeah. I absolutely was. And I would just thought, like, oh, my body's just not used to me not eating pop pasta, or I'm lacking the sodium that I normally took in for 25 years, you know?
Yeah.
And it wasn't good. It absolutely wasn't. But at the end of it all, I lost 101 pounds.
Congratulations,
Thank
by the
you.
way.
Thank you so much. I'm so much happier, and I'm so much healthier. And with losing that much weight, body dysmorphia is a real bitch, so to speak. I don't know what your rating is on here, but I'm really sorry.
No, you're good. You can swear as much as you want.
Yeah, it'll always be there. I constantly look at myself and I get approval, like, wow, you look great. And I look at myself, I'm like, I look kind of fat this week. Like, I'm looking a little chubby. Like, I really could tone up. And that's something that's going to sit with me for the rest of my life. And that's something that I don't feel comfortable with. Like, of course I wish it would just go away, but it is what it is. I'm so much happier though overall. Body dysmorphia aside, I'm so much happier of a person. I like to think I look a little better. I smile a little brighter. I walk around.
Does it
with
make you a
maybe
nicer person?
A little more. I actually think so. I'm not fat and angry anymore. No, I'm just skinny, catty, and bitter.
Yeah, right.
Improvements
all around.
Baby steps,
all right, cool. So we're going to curve away from the horror movies because you did allude to earlier that it's not really your thing.
I have ADHD, so I find a real hard, like, my life literally revolves around cooking. If you look at my YouTube search history, it's like MasterChef and then like 2003 SmackDown.
All right,
and like that's it.
I mean, that's fair.
So like I find it hard to like reading's hard for me if I'm not enthralled with the first 3 pages. Like, it's out for me.
Gotcha.
So TV is really cool for me because, like, everything changes 26 minutes later, right? It's just a movie. So, like, I find it really hard to get enthralled in movies.
Okay, that's fair.
all.
Well, let's talk, let's curve it back to wrestling now because I want just to do a couple more things on that because I know you got to get ready for your match, and so do I. Again, we're here live at Upstate 8, so, doing the thing. So do you have a bucket list of people you still want to work?
Absolutely. And that
Can you give us a few?
Yeah, that bucket list has dwindled down. With AEW forming and everything, exclusivity is a real pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So my number one was Darby Allin. I mean, the kind of self-destructive, kind of crash and burn wrestler that I am, and there's nobody does it better than Darby, and I'm willing to outdo him.
Nice.
And I know that I can. Jimmy Havoc was always a big one for me, but here's the kicker. My number one, like, actual pure wrestler, hardcore aside, crash and burn aside, C.W. Anderson.
Oh, wow.
I know, right.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that.
But nobody does.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
And I've interviewed a lot of ECW originals before you on this podcast, and that's a name that I've yet to hear come up. So
really?
That's really cool.
Dude, he's kicking ass. He's like 46, in insane shape, just kicking ass and taking names, dude.
Yeah.
C.W. Anderson, if this reaches you, come and get your boy in Buffalo, New York. I'll come and get you in North Kakalaki. Let's get it popping.
All right. Very cool. I like that list. Can you give me a favorite opponent that you've had so far? I know you're going to say Jimmy Jacobs. We touched on that.
Yeah.
We did touch on that
so
one.
Aside from old Jimbo,
And you've worked like a decent or worked with a lot of names.
Yeah.
So like
I've been very fortunate.
Throw them out there. Like who have you learned from? Who have you worked with? Who do you love working
Ricky
against?
Morton. I was very
That's old
like
school.
I didn't deserve this early in my career, but working with Ricky Morton was one of the most promising names that I've ever worked with. He taught me a lot. He taught me a lot about simplicity. Mm-hmm. And of course, we're in, the middle of bumfuck Pennsylvania.
Of course.
When I'm telling you, he wrestled in hay around the ring. Just straw everywhere, and just
That's
dudes
legit.
over hand to God.
Wow!
And they loved it, and they loved it. He taught me a lot about simplicity.
And of course, Ricky Morton would be there.
Oh, of course,
like, that's old school.
Oh, dude, the barn erupted.
The barn erupted.
Talk
Not
about
with
a
animals.
literal barn burner. Yeah, he taught me a lot about how to keep things simple, and here's how to enthrall a crowd. And it was easily selling for Ricky Morton was so fun. I'm not to be like a mark or anything. But yeah, Jimmy Jacobs, Ricky Morton, Ace Romero for obvious reasons.
Yes, yeah.
I can't help but feel like, so I'm at a point in my life where, like, I want to start where I'm here at Upstate. There's so much young talent here. I would love to start working with the young talent more. I've worked with, Matt Cross, Ace Romero, a couple brothers in AEW, and a couple guys that are going to be signed in a couple years. So, it's all a part of the ride. I love it. But yeah, as far as names are concerned, they come and they go.
Are you, not to be controversial or anything, but I interviewed Bob Rosen, who's the ring builder for AEW currently, and was for Impact for 10, 15 years, whatever it was.
Right.
Are you thumbs up AEW? You loving their stuff? What are you thinking?
I love any place that gives my friends jobs.
I'm the same boat. That's great.
That's all it is.
Awesome.
Like I said, I got a bunch of friends in AEW right now. Uno's killing it.
Yeah.
Trent, killing it.
Yep.
Marco Stunt. Killing it.
Yep.
I know a couple guys that were just signed by WWE. I actually know one of the more recent signees, but I can't release that. It's one of my one of the LGBTQ brothers.
Oh, okay.
They're doing great things. And
very cool.
And yes, absolutely. And Shotzi Blackheart, sweetest girl in the world, just got signed. So you know what? I'm a fan of anybody that gives me or my friends jobs. So as long as if you can live off of wrestling, I'm a fan. And if you're giving people a chance to live off of wrestling, keep doing what you're doing. Stop choosing sides.
Agreed. You know what? I totally agree. I don't like this war. You're either this company, this company, this company.
Why?
Wrestling's in a boom right now. And for guys like me and you, that means a lot.
It does.
That's a big deal.
It's more of a chance for us to get a job.
So
I want a job.
Why are we getting angry over whose side everybody's on? Like, I've been watching AEW. I'm a fan. I like it.
Exactly.
I watch WWE. I watch Impact. I watch Ring of Honor. There's nothing I really don't watch.
Exactly.
And none of us should ever stop watching. There's always something to learn, somebody new to see, and I think it's great out there. So that's cool to hear you say this.
And if there's something you don't like, then that's fine. Not everything's for everybody.
Agreed.
But I see certain people like in the business that are like, that Joey Ryan dick spot really is the shit. It's like, knock it off. Like,
Ask Cloudy.
Perfect. You just lost yourself a job. Congratulations. Your jerk off opinion lost you a job.
100%. And it's that quick. You're gone. You're gone.
It's just unreal. Like, it's fun. Let people enjoy things.
Yeah.
If it wasn't fun and people weren't reacting, he'd probably stop doing it.
For sure. I mean, let's be honest. He's probably the most over guy on the Indies right. Well, is he really considered Indies right now? He's signed.
He just signed to Impact, didn't he?
But he is very he's so popular,
and he's the sweetest man.
He really is.
Such a warm hug. Go get a hug from Joey Ryan if you can. Tell him Anthony Gaines sent you. He always smells nice. You know, he does.
He always smells nice. He's got great hugs.
It's like Sex Panther, you know.
60% of the time it works every time. So give me some of your end goals in wrestling. What are you looking for?
I honestly think I'm
a job.
A job, yeah. That big 6-digit payday would be nice.
Yeah.
End goals in wrestling, dude. I just want to have fun. I think I've narrowed it down to the point where, and you can somebody that's in the business, you can see who's going to get signed and who's on the radar and who's doing all the right things. Me personally, I'm a victim of my own bad habits. But I'm very self-aware, and I know what's going to get me a job, but I also know, more importantly, what's going to keep me from getting a job. I'm at the point in my life I'm not willing to change who I am. I like what I like, and I like what I do. So if that means I'm stuck on the Indies for another 11 years, hey, man, you just got Anthony Gaines for another 11 years. But yeah, the end goal is a job. I always told my parents, if I don't have something by 30, I'm going to quit this.
And how old are you now?
26.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, who actually leaves wrestling?
Nobody.
I'll be doing this till I die. Maybe I'll scale it back, and, maybe the chef life will be, earning me a little bit more money, but right now, I'm happy being a full-time chef and a full-time pro wrestler on the weekends.
Yeah.
Sure, do I miss sleeping? Yeah. Sleeping rules.
Yeah.
This life is pretty taxing.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get Anthony Gaines a job.
And you're feeling the wear and tear now, right? A little more as the years go on.
I feel, more recently, I feel better now than ever before. I just took a month off. My elbows, first thing to go in wrestling, feel amazing. My knees feel great. I got problems with both knees. One surgically repaired, one thankfully not. Yes, I feel great, but yes, it is all catching up with me.
Yeah, I understand. I started this journey at 23. I'm 32.
Yeah.
So
11 years strong, brother.
We're growing. Let's do this.
Absolutely.
Here's my last question to you before I let you plug all your stuff. Your own shameless plugs.
Yeah.
I've known you since the beginning. Like basically since my first week.
I was buying tickets to BCW, dude.
Right.
Remember Al O'Donnell?
And yes, I do.
I got him over.
That was you. That's
Remember
right.
Still Not Raven?
Yes.
That was me.
That was you.
That was me. You motherfucker.
Yeah. For anybody that doesn't know, when I started wearing my leather jacket and my ripped up jeans, this piece of shit, no, I'm just kidding. Used to have the whole crowd chanting, "You're not Raven" at me.
And then finally he goes, "Man, shut the hell up, that's old," or something like that. Like, it's getting old. Yeah. And then we silenced and then chanted, "Still not Raven." Yes. And you could tell that it got under his skin.
I was
real
hot.
bad. You were
But I'll tell you this.
Mad.
You know what was great that day? And you'll probably remember this. Who was on that show?
Colt Cabana.
Nope. Stevie Richards. I walk back to the dressing rooms and he goes, you're Raven? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I could see it. And I was like, motherfucker.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, those were fun times, dude.
But my question to you is, we've known each other this long. We've never worked one-on-one.
No, we haven't. I don't know.
How?
I don't know. Our paths have never crossed.
Yeah.
You know, like, we've always been working Buffalo different places and Pennsylvania different places, Canada different places, you know. So
we've been around each other, but like kind of missing each other.
I think upstate's the place that's going to happen.
I think so too. I really do.
I hope so too. And if you don't want to see the Rockstar Robbie Vegas versus none of a kind Anthony Gaines, then go pick up a new prescription for glasses or something. Go wipe the old spectacles off.
Well, man, you have been an awesome riding partner this year, because I believe this is the first time ever that we've been riding together.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've been having a good time, and it's been fun. And before we wrap this up, just plug your social media, tell people where to find you, plug upcoming events, whatever you have going on. Plug where you're cooking.
Sure thing.
Just plug things.
Sure thing. So, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. This is easily one of the most fun podcasts I've ever been on. And I did a lot after the whole pounce thing. But,
yeah, right.
Like I said, my name is None of a Kind, Anthony Gaines. You can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at Anthony2_Gaines. That's Gaines. ProWrestlingTees.com/Gaines for all your Anthony Gaines None of a Kind merchandise. I am an Empire State Wrestling official superstar. For the rest of the year, I'll be at Upstate Pro Wrestling C4 in Ottawa. At the end of the year is Tid the Season, Every Time I Die's signature rock and wrestling show. Where I will be wrestling a complete clusterfuck of a match, if I do say so myself. It's like me and Orange Cassidy and like two other brothers versus like Matt Justice and Effie and two other brothers.
Oh, wow.
So like when I say clusterfuck, the literal epitome of. So come check me out at that. If you ever see me in public, please just buy me a gin and soda with 2 limes. If you ever see me cooking anywhere, let me know that my food rocks, because I'm a self-conscious chef. I'm one of the head chefs of the University at Buffalo. Anybody can eat there, by the way. You don't have to be enrolled there. Come get a meal from me. I cook pretty awesome steaks all the time. For None of a Kind Anthony Gaines, thank you so much for having me, man. I do appreciate it.
And,
anybody else that doesn't know me, get to know me. Come on. I'm going to blow up in the next, 11 years. I promise.
I like that time frame.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Your opponent's stalking you over here. Gavin Glass is stalking you. And
I'm
I think
kick him in the thickness.
Before we go, I do got to tell everybody who's listening, make sure you click the link in the description of the show for Insane Labs. Our Vegas 30 saves you 50%. I'm telling you, these are the best gym supplements I've ever used. Tell them I sent you. You get 50% off. You have no reason. And that includes buy one, get one free. So you're looking at a 2-month supply of BCAAs, pre-workouts, testosterone, whatever you need for like $30. You have no reason not to try this. Check it out. I will see you on the ride home, because we have to go get ready for our matches.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Rob.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.